She asked for water. They looked past her like she didn't exist. By the time the flight landed, the crew realized too late who she really was. No yelling, no threats, just one quiet report that triggered a chain they couldn't stop. And in the end, the woman they tried to ignore was the one who shut everything down. Dahlia Grant sat quietly in seat 2, her hands resting neatly in her lap. A navy wrap coat hugged her frame, a silver dove-shaped pin glinting near her collar. Around her, the soft clinks of champagne flutes and muffled first-class chatter filled the cabin. Dahlia didn't join them. Her eyes moved slowly across the folded program, in her hand her husband's name printed bold across the top. In 3 days, he'd be honored in Washington, D.C., as the newly appointed chief of civil oversight. The city had arranged this flight. She wasn't supposed to be here for conflict. It was meant to be a quiet, dignified journey. Raindrops patterned the window beside her, faint streaks catching the light as the plane prepared for takeoff. A flight attendant walked by, tall, tightly wound, with a jaw that looked like it had been carved from stone. Her name tag read Brielle. She offered a sparkling wine to the man behind Dahlia, a Mr. Horner, her voice chipper, sweet. But when she reached Dahlia's row, she gave only a nod. No greeting, no offer, just walked past like she didn't see her. Dahlia didn't flinch. She'd lived through enough polished offices, boardrooms, and backhanded smiles to know exactly what was happening. It was the kind of slight that never scream at it whispered. But she waited. As the plane began taxiing, Brielle returned with drink service. Mr. Dwyer, would you prefer the Brut or the Chardonnay? She cooed a row back. Mrs. Connors, we've got cucumber water as well if you'd like. Then to Dahlia, a pause, a flat tone drink. Just water, thank you, Dahlia replied softly. Brielle didn't nod, didn't say coming right up. She just turned and walked away. No tray ever came. 5 minutes. 10. Dahlia didn't push the call button, didn't ask again. She simply leaned back and closed her eyes, not from fatigue, but from knowing. Across the aisle, a silver-haired man peered over his newspaper at her, then looked away. He'd seen it. He just didn't want to get involved. They never did. Dahlia reached in her purse and dabbed her temple with a linen cloth. Not from tears, but from a different kind of exhaustion. The plane lifted off. Smooth, steady. Dahlia remained still, her fingers resting against her seatbelt. When meal service began, she noticed again others were addressed by name, offered choices, asked preferences. Brielle leaned toward the woman behind her. Your gluten-free salmon, Mrs. Connors, with a bright smile. Then to Dahlia, no vegetarian options left. Cold chicken sandwich or nothing. I pre-ordered a vegetarian meal. It should be in the system, Dahlia replied. Sometimes it doesn't update. Brielle shrugged and thudded the sandwich onto Dahlia's tray. No apology. No silverware. A wilted sandwich wrapped in plastic, with a bent mustard packet tucked beneath a cheap napkin. Dahlia didn't touch it. She opened her notes app and typed, Conduct flag 402. She locked the screen and folded her hands. The hum of porcelain and cutlery carried on around her. Her tray remained untouched, the sandwich looking as out of place in that cabin as she did. But she didn't slouch, didn't sigh. She had been taught that silence was often stronger than protest. Brielle brushed against her arm later, reaching past her without a word, knocking the mustard packet to the floor. Dahlia picked it up. No reaction. She opened her black notebook and wrote one line. Seat 2 on water. No meal, no apology. She thought of her husband, Aaron, how he'd fought to reform the same systems, now brushing against her existence. How he taught her that not every battle needed volume, just accuracy. Dahlia didn't just notice the slide, she logged it. Later, a younger flight attendant passed her row. His eyes landed briefly on the sandwich still on her tray. No sirve, no drink. His glance lingered, then darted away. He knew, but he wasn't going to say anything. Dahlia tapped into her secure network, a private line, tied to the oversight system her husband helped create. She typed in a flag, Flight 402. Issue with senior crew. Quiet protocol requested. Then she waited. Somewhere beneath that quiet, the machine had started moving. Digital logs, meal records, audio review software listening for tone discrepancies. Dahlia sat calmly, a storm brewing beneath her stillness. She didn't touch the sandwich, didn't sip the water that eventually arrived. Not because of stubbornness, because she refused to participate in a performance that excluded her. A memory stirred. A restaurant years ago. The hostess seated her and Aaron by the kitchen, even though the dining room was nearly empty. They sat us back here because they think we won't tip, Aaron had whispered. She'd left a 40% tip and a note. We noticed. We just chose not to argue. But this time, she wasn't choosing silence. Brielle returned, handing a drink to the man beside Dahlia. Her hand jerked water, spilled across Dahlia's blouse. Cold, sharp. Oh, Brielle said flatly. Didn't see you there. Dahlia turned her face to her, eyes steady. You didn't see me? She asked. No raised voice, just clarity. Brielle blinked, uncertain for the first time. Dahlia turned away, dabbing her blouse with the edge of the napkin, then reached for her tablet. She typed, Incident escalation. Flight 402. Tara Mendes. Priority review requested. The younger attendant returned later, awkward, carrying a creme brulee. MS. Grant, he said, her name spoken aloud for the first time all flight. I saw what happened. I didn't say anything, but I should have. I am sorry. You're not the one who served me the sandwich, she said. I know, but I served the silence. That stopped her. Thank you, she replied. Then came a shift. A woman entered first class in a blazer, gold pin on her lapel. In-flight operations supervisor. She approached Dahlia. We've received a live conduct flag, ma'am. Internal review has already been activated. This is not yet a formal investigation, but I'm here to begin the preliminary record. Dahlia nodded. She didn't downplay it. I was skipped. I was handed the wrong meal. I was dismissed, ignored, and splashed with water without an apology. And not once was I addressed by name. The supervisor recorded each word. The crew member? Brielle Mendes. Understood, the supervisor said. This will escalate upon landing. Dahlia leaned back. She wasn't done, but she was no longer carrying it alone. As the flight descended into D.C., a soft ding signaled landing. A male voice came over the speaker. We ask all passengers to remain seated. Some members of our cabin crew will be asked to exit first for immediate debriefing. Passengers froze. Eyes darted. Silence grew thicker. Through the slit in the curtain, Dahlia saw two airport officials waiting. Tara Brielle was being spoken to near the rear lavatory, tablet in hand. Dahlia didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply waited. When the passengers finally began to leave, most avoided her gaze. Some nodded. Mrs. Connors whispered, You shouldn't have had to go through that. I'm sorry I didn't say something earlier. Next time, Dahlia replied. Don't wait. She was the last to deboard. As she stepped onto the jet bridge, the cold night air hit her face. A man in a charcoal suit greeted her. MS. Grant, he said. Thank you. We've reviewed the escalation. You've triggered Tier 1 conduct review. CEO will be notified before sunrise. She nodded. I want structural consequence, she said, not performative response. We'd like to invite you to help revise our service training protocol, he replied. Independent, confidential, and compensated. I'll decide when and how, she said. And I write the section on microaggressions. He nodded. She walked away not victorious, not triumphant, but unshaken. The silence that once defined her experience was over. Outside, her husband waited in the car. You good? He asked. I stayed quiet. Then I made it count. He took her hand, and they drove into the night, not to rest, but knowing that something, somewhere, had finally shifted.